Happy Wednesday, everybody. You're on Innervision FM.
My God.
And that's who we love and that's who we serve.
How dare you?
We dare. We do. We dare.
Is it running out? Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, ladies, our studio audience. Oh man!
Hey, check this out. This morning, Johnny, I heard that today is a 1-year anniversary. Normally, we tend to celebrate anniversaries, and this particular anniversary, I'm not very much in the mood for celebration.
Well,
You know what happened this time last year?
Okay, let me see. What today is August 31st. What happened this? Now, was it the debacle with the Afghanistan?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh
bro.
man, yes. Okay, that's the debacle where our rule, our American rule, and some people who are currently in the White House don't seem to understand that American rules is we leave no one behind.
That's right.
And that show is still showing in the Wednesday slot on Denver Open Media. I mean, that was the most popular show.
We're locally broadcasting as well on Denver Comcast Channel 56, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, they didn't want to say it themselves, so they just said, we'll just lock this show in so it doesn't appear that, they're biased. But it's regularly Wednesday. And even though I've been submitting other shows, those other shows just show other times of the week. Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you to the show. If you're just coming in, come on in and subscribe, please. We're stuck at 1,067. I have decided, since we got a little bit of grant money, I'm going to start advertising our YouTube channel on the AdWords. No, not AdWords. What is that thing? Is it called? I think it might be called AdWords.
Yeah, AdWords, there's AdRoll, there's AdBlade, there's all kinds of different organizations out there. Hey, speaking of organizations, what we do here is we promote grassroots musicians, whether they be physically challenged in some way with a handicap, like blindness or other things. We also help financially challenged recording artists, musicians get their stuff out there as well. In addition, we do this kind of thing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 to 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, folks.
Yes.
And,
also,
we may well mention our sponsors while we're at it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Let's go with the Colorado Arts Relief Fund. Let's go with the Denver Foundation. Those two folks, we want to thank you for coming along board alongside of us and on board. We also want to thank Wells Fargo. That's interesting. You got a banking sponsor, so that's pretty.
Yeah.
In addition, vision is important to us. We're a couple of blind guys, and we don't have vision ourselves, except for the Innervision. Whoa, hey, that's
yes.
Richard Damiano can help. If you visit Littleton Eye Clinic, I guess he's helped a couple of your friends personally, yeah?
Oh yeah. I mean, they were in another third world country, and they got a visa to come to America, and somehow they got connected. I don't know if it was through, because he travels quite a bit. But he hooked him up and gave him a cataract operation and corneal, whatever, and they're now able to see. So yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Vision is super important. I sure would love to drive sometimes. And even if the Tesla vehicles and other electrically powered vehicles may indeed be able to be shut down, boy, just one time I want to step behind the wheel of a vehicle and just tool on down the road and go get me a Bible or go get me a pack of gum or something.
Last night I had this weird dream that I was driving this car. A friend of mine that I know a long time ago, she used to be one of my co-hosts on my TV show, Raven was there. And we got pulled over by the police. And, I was keeping my hands on the wheel and all that kind of stuff. And then, he just said, "Oh, okay, you're all right. You can go." Okay. And this is weird. Like in my dreams, yeah, I'm driving. I'm in the driver's seat and she's sitting in the back seat and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking like, wow, this is unusual. So, right. So your dreams can put you in interesting places.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, and we should mention Christian Brothers Moving Company.
Absolutely. If you want to move from state to state, these guys are based out of Denver. They got some offices in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as the great state of Texas. God bless the Republic of Texas. These guys are in the news. Greg Abbott is most assuredly sending a bunch of folks over to New York and Washington, D.C. I guess he sent about 1,500 folks over to New York and somewhere around 7,200 over to Washington, D.C. to show them what they think about the open border situation. Interestingly enough, in New York, I hear that they are shutting down ATMs after 10 p.m.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the
why?
People take their money out. The reason for that being apparently is the homeless situation down there. Apparently the hotels that they're putting the immigrants in that are coming across the border and being shipped to New York, they find it nicer to maybe sleep in the booth of the ATM. So I guess they've started limiting the American people's money and their ability to access it.
Well, you know where this is going to lead. If they do it, if you accept this kind of control over when you can go to the bank and not, what else could they make you accept? And you heard about the gun control law that they say you can't go to Times Square if you have a concealed carry.
Absolutely.
And other places.
It's being deemed as a sensitive area. So therefore, what happens is even if you've got a concealed carry permit, they're trying to put up these signs. This is still a gun-free zone. Now, an interesting piece to this is, I guess a few weeks ago, there was some huge deal about heroin. I didn't catch the story, but apparently, the sign saying, "Hey, this is a drug-free zone." The criminals don't care about signs. They're just going to bring their whatever.
That says green light for them to have the gun.
That's right. That's right.
Did you see that one? Officer Tatum had this video in the show, and I guess this 80-year-old guy. He was working at the store, and I guess he had video surveillance. So he saw these young guys get out of their car with a gun, with a rifle, with the AR-15, and so he positioned himself, so he would see them before they saw him. And he shot this brother's arm off, and he cried like a baby when he got his arm shot off. And so shot
off too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess so. But he was coming in looking like he was bad. I got my AR-15, but the old man said I got mine too. So it's on the YouTube. You could find it. Officer Tatum AR-15. Yeah, you look for that, and I'm sure it'll come up. But he played the audio of it, and it says, and he played it back and said, "Let's slow it down. Let's observe these wannabe gangsters coming into the store." And I guess they rolled back and put the kid in the car and drove off to the hospital, where he's now a one-armed AR-15 thug.
Post the other day on one of the social media platforms. It said something like, let me see if I get it right here. It's like, gangsters be vaping, and it's like, it shows like these gangsters running around, they're vaping, and they want to be all gangster. They look like a thug, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. but they're vaping stuff that smells like strawberry muffins.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, gangsters be vaping and they want to be gangsters, but they smell like strawberry muffins. They all look tough.
Oh, how about this? I had this comedian. His name is Ryan. He's one of my friends. He says, okay, the guy, they're bagging about like how gangster they are, and they have the sagging, and then they go to get in their car and they put in a seatbelt. Another like, oh, okay, if you're a gangster, like, you die for your hood, or forget about the seatbelts,
Put on that seatbelt. Make sure you don't get a fine as you're driving down the street going to run your illicit
drive-bys or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the epitome of control. And oh wow, that's insane.
That's really interesting about that closing down the. Oh, and also because these cities call themselves a sanctuary city, they're sanctuary until they get overwhelmed, like the southern border. It's all right if it's being overwhelmed at the southern border, but when it hits home and then you're overwhelmed with all these illegal migrants, then you start complaining and saying you need help from the federal government.
That's right. That's right. We, the general American people, we're a generous set of folks. I mean, we realize and understand that this country was built upon immigration. It was built upon, a lot of folks coming together, e pluribus unum, out of many one. But there also is a thing called the rule of law here. And so once that starts breaking down, as it appears to be doing today, you get what you get. And I just tell those people in Washington, hey, you get what you get. Don't throw a fit. Just deal with it.
Yes. Now, here's one that yesterday in the show, Mike Tyson said it's two topics he won't talk about. Political topics and religion. Well, we don't have those same rules here at Innervision FM. We'll talk about just about everything. All right. So like I said, this month I'm reading the book of Romans, and I was in chapter 14. And as you guys know, I'm a plant-based kind of person, but I don't believe in forcing you just because that's something I'm choosing to do. I don't believe in making a law or having a veg like we did here in Colorado in March. We had a veg plant-based eating day, and which really, I guess, offended the farmers of the cattlemen farmers. So I said, well, I wonder what the Bible says about being a vegan or being a vegetarian or and what was that in the book of Daniel? Those guys only ate veggies, and the king says, well, why aren't you eating the king's food? And Daniel said, no, we prefer just veggies and water. So I guess it led to the king wanting to put the guys into a furnace of fire because they wouldn't eat the meat. And we know how that ended up, where he looked in there and he says, Daniel, are you all right? And it says, and who's that other one with you? Because we threw 3 of you in there and there's 4 of you there. And they came out not even smelling like smoke. So
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego story. And the 4th individual, for those that haven't read the story, is some symbolism of the Lord being with them within that fire furnace. You can go into the book of Daniel, check that out for yourself. It's awesome, man. This book is the best story ever told, my brother.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you haven't picked it up and read it, because what I said, I was 15 and I said, how can I say that I'm a Christian and never read the book? It'd be like me saying I'm a Muslim, never read the Quran. How can I sit here and say, I believe in you, but I've never read anything about you? Or, it's like dating someone across the street, but you never go over there to talk to them or meet with them. You just say, I'm dating that person.
That's why I don't have much time or space for online dating services, online get-togethers, virtual chat meetups, virtual cafes. Just don't have time for any of that.
All right. So I was just reading because I'm reading the book of Romans, and I guess I have two more chapters to go, 15 and 16. Yep. And so I stopped it just when I said, I want to talk about this because I was looking at this, that would be our next topic about beans. And I said, I looked at that and I said, oh, okay. So when I looked at that, I said, okay, well, I said, yeah, okay. Whenever you pray over your food, I guess the sum of this chapter, it talks about, you have faith, you pray over it, you bless it. And, if you have faith that food is not going to harm you in any way, hey, go for it, eat whatever you want. But
let's check it out. Chapter 14, verse 1 starts with, he that is weak in the faith, receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. So basically what that's saying in verse 1, for those that don't speak the old King James and the these and the thous, say, do what you're going to do. Don't be weak about it. And don't doubt that what you're doing is the right thing. Then it says in verse 2, for one that believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Now, here's where I'm stuck, because you see, I use this very verse right here to go ahead and justify me smoking the devil's lettuce. We'll just put it that way.
Right.
And my pastor kind of had to set me straight. He says, well, no, they're talking about eating stuff here, bro. They're not talking about smoking anything. Let's read it. So verse 3 says, let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God hath received him. So basically, we're all good in God's eyes, whether we eat meat, whether we eat vegetables. This weakness about those that eat herbs, I don't know about all that, but Paul is who Paul is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think looking at Paul, I mean, Paul was, he hit it hard whenever he went out there. Because I mean, if I had an experience like Paul, like on the road to Damascus, because that's the book I just finished, the book of Acts. Yeah. And I read it twice, because I read it while I was in Estonia, and then when I get back, I said, let me do this again, because sometimes when you read something twice back to back, and I might even do that with Romans, because my brow reading is getting a lot faster. When I started when I was 19, it's just a lot faster. And so I said, let me read this twice. So when I think about that, I think, Paul, remember he was on the boat and it was 14 days and nobody ate or I don't know if they didn't drink anything, but 14 days, because they were so worried about the ship being destroyed and them as well being destroyed. And then on the 14th day, Paul says, okay, he says, gentlemen, God came to me. He said that the ship may be lost, but none of you will be lost. Right. And he said, let's break bread. He blessed it and he ate. And they had grain. They would eat grain. So they had a bunch of grain on the ship, and they would eat the grain. And so for that full time, Paul was a vegetarian. So, but he understood that there's some people who maybe they feel better, but at the time we didn't study. Well, they weren't probably studying like, well, do you feel better when you eat vegetables? Do you feel this way? Do you feel sluggish when you eat meat? And so, not knowing how strict Paul was, but I have a feeling that he was very, what would I say, not self-controlled, disciplined.
He was definitely disciplined.
I have a feeling that he had to be a vegetarian sometimes, and then he said and then he did the fish thing, and even Jesus, he would eat berries, and then they would fry up some fish, and so I'm just saying, and then when Peter had the net come down, and it was full of like these different animals, reptiles, and and God said, kill and eat. And he said, no, Lord, I would never eat anything that's unclean. Nothing's ever passed at my lips. And then God says, whatever I have called clean, you shall not call unclean. And
Right.
anybody, you guys, it's a sixth grade level book. You can. I'm not going to tell you where the chapter and verse is. Go find it in the book of Acts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. And man, I love it. I read it all the time, but more than just read it because it's good, to read. I do my very best to live it all the time. Now, I could use more work in both areas. I can read more and I can live more. That's for sure. But I'm working at it. I'm definitely a work in progress. And the idea being that I don't judge folks for what their belief structure is. Now, I've got some friends that happen to be atheists. I've got some friends that happen to be, other faiths, we'll put that way. I've got friends that believe in the latest stuff, the transhumanist movement. I will definitely tell all of them, if they ask, if they want my opinion, where I believe things are. But I wouldn't ever want to push it on anybody, because the bottom line is, who are we to judge another servant? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Because, they're serving in their own way. Now, everybody, everything, all things serve the Lord anyway. So it doesn't matter what the deal is. But the bottom line is, who am I to judge other than to say that stuff isn't for me? So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And let me tell you, like yesterday, I was putting together some, we're going to move on to the bean topic. Yesterday, I wanted some guacamole, homemade guacamole, because if you go to the store, they put the preservatives and you don't know what else they put in, but I wanted to know exactly what it was put in. And so I did a little bit of, and then as I I put some green parsley and tomatoes, and I have an onion down there. I haven't used that onion, which I'm going to use that, but it's a red onion. I just chopped that up. And then I said, let me put some seasoning in here. So I started grabbing a bunch of like turmeric and other type of seasonings in there and put that. And then I was at Whole Foods and I got these 3 big jalapenos. I mean, they're about the size, let me think, of my fingers, like 3 fingers put together, right? And I cut like maybe like the top part, and I took a bite of that. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who's farming these jalapenos lately, but it fired me up. So I said, wait a minute, I'm going to only put 1 piece of jalapeno in my guacamole. But And now I've been doing raw, but I decided, well, I'm going to warm it. I had canned beans. I'm going to warm it up, put some tomatoes in there. Then I put some, then I cut up the rest, not the whole jalapeno, but the rest of the head of it, and put that in there, and then, boil that. But it did the job. It cleaned me out, and it went down to my stomach and said, hey, you guys, if there's anybody bad here, we're going to kick your butt. And it was a good thing. It was a good thing. It was a positive thing because it really cleaned out my inside. And I think those herbs, maybe even more positive because okay, I'll tell you the story. I don't know how we get it. My significant other woke up and said, "Stop moving your legs," but didn't know that they were moving their legs, and I just started laughing. And I was using one of these herbs that it induced like positive reaction. And I could have got, no, I'm not moving my leg. But it set me so funny that they were moving their legs, and they thought, well, you must be moving your legs. And it just cracked me up. And I just had to laugh. And so I don't know if the herbs I used was part of that, or it just was funny that someone would say that I'm moving when they moved and woke themselves up. So let's get to the beans.
Let's get to the beans. Legumes are some of the best health foods there are around there. Why is it, honey?
Well, it all depends on how you prepare them.
Okay.
Now I usually like soak them overnight, but in this story, I heard they were saying like soak them for 2 days. Which,
wow.
Well, and then they were even saying like like when you're soaking them, every once in a while, drain the water in a funnel, and then put them back in a new set of water, because it'll cut down on the flash in it, or the gas, or the discomfort that you might get. Now, let me tell you, when I was in Estonia, I got some, what's that? It's you used it with beans dip, but it was a bean dip, but they call it something else. And it really hurt my stomach. So I'm figuring like, well, maybe they didn't cook their beans right, because last night when I ate these beans, nothing like that. So I have a feeling that, if you're store-bought, they're not preparing them. They make it creamy and all that kind of stuff, and they put whatever preservatives that they will put in that stuff. But somehow, it really hit my stomach hard, and I was up like half the night and I had this powdered vitamin C stuff that I put in the bowl just to clear my stomach and all that kind of stuff. And but these beans, that's what they say, 48 hours, okay, and I guess the trick is in preparing them. Is that long thing to say, prepare your beans well before you do the final cook, and then cook them until they're very soft, because then that opens up the nutrients inside them, and and it makes you feel fuller as well,
Absolutely. Wow.
So yeah, and wait, let me get down here to some of these because I'm not being specific about some of the seasoning, because I didn't use all these seasonings.
They're really good. I can't figure out how to access my email on the iPhone and still be able to talk to y'all and still read the thing. So
yeah, okay, let me go down there and
I did try to open it up on my laptop, but for whatever reason, I'm having a few internet problems. Keep saying 0 items.
And they say that people that eat legumes tend to have a smaller weight, and it provides some health benefits, especially they say like in the Spanish community, they eat a lot of beans, and even though they have a lot of access, some of the poorer ones, to medical, it seems to have health benefits in that way as well. Okay. So it's high in soluble fiber, which helps to move things along.
Absolutely.
And it makes you feel full longer. Okay. Now this is the part you can also add spices and fennel. I did fennel. Cumin, caraway. I never heard of that spice.
Caraway is the stuff that they put in sausage. Actually, shoot, I've never tried it in a vegetarian dish, but it's
okay.
Very strong, a pungent kind of. I don't even know how to explain it. But you'll know it when you taste it. It's a very unique thing. They put it in an Italian sausage an awful lot. I know you wouldn't touch that stuff, but
yeah. But ginger, I forgot I put ginger in my guacamole. Sometimes I will grate it and I'll put it in my beans, and that'll give it a fantastic flavor too, and it helps to digest it well. And now epicet, I did a spell check, and I try to save these as in the Word document as the original word. So I'm not sure if epicet is a seasoning or not.
I've never heard it.
Yeah, so I might have got that one wrong. Now this other one, asafoetida. That's interesting. And turmeric. Oh yes, I definitely put turmeric in there. So there's some pointers on if you're gonna eat beans and you don't want that uncomfortable feeling after eating them, take a couple of days and really prepare them, and don't wait too long, because sometimes I think I was in Moscow one time and we left the beans like I think 3 days or whatever, and then that is probably a little bit too much, and I wasn't paying attention to draining it and all that kind of stuff. So do your due diligence.
Wouldn't want things to start sprouting. That's what they'll actually start to germinate if you cook for too long.
Oh yes, definitely. Now let's see. What happened to my jaw starts talking? Oh, there it is. Where's my duck? Oh, here it is. Okay. Our next topic is if Republicans in this November take control of the Senate and the House, Sanchez says there's going to be some reckoning with Little Elf. Did you hear that? What he did say he wanted to take Little Elf and slide him across the floor?
Oh, something about Ron DeSantis making a comment about our esteemed Dr. Fauci. Called him a little elf. Told folks that we just need to get him out of here.
Yes.
It is interesting that he does happen to be retiring. It's amazing that he will be retiring. Well, I guess December 31st is going to be his last day. Is that right?
Yes. And so he said he's moving on to some other adventures, and but not before these committees get a hold of him. Once we do take back the Senate and the House, so and he's going to have to answer a lot of questions about this lockdown that he suggested, and that other lady Burke. I want them to drag her in there as well and question her about the lie that she put in her book, so she can't say, "Oh, I didn't do that." It's in your book that you lied to the President of the United States of America. For what reason? Hell, And I think I got a good idea of why Burke and Fauci lied to the President of the United States, and they accomplished what they accomplished.
It is interesting that Pfizer held back, apparently. Now, I only got my memory to go back on. But if I remember correctly, the vaccine came out perhaps
a day after.
Yeah, 2 days, a day after the election took place. I don't even know if we're supposed to be talking about the election anymore.
Yeah.
There's a stuff that's coming out about that has got some folks up in arms. But anyway, Pfizer came out with the vacation package, whatever you want to call it, one day after the election took place. It's interesting because if it had come out, let's just say a week before or 2 weeks before, a day before the election, things might have gone a lot differently.
And the Hunter Biden thing as well, with the FBI submerging that as well. So
there's somebody in the woodpile for sure, and there is light being shown upon them. Thank the Lord Almighty that this stuff is indeed coming out, because he's the king. He's the one that rules the roost anyway. So all glory goes to him.
Yeah. Also, I want to. This may be for the Marshal. Remember when Biden signed the Executive Order 13990 that destroyed 50,000 jobs in the Exxon pipeline? Yeah. Well, Trump had put into place. It was before that you couldn't fire the deep state, and I guess that number reaches about 50,000 people that are just there, and they're bureaucrats that can make decisions, but they're not elected officials. They just have the power to make decisions that affect you and me. And they were speculating that when Trump gets in, he's going to invoke that and a tat for tat, I guess. There's going to be 50,000 deep state people out of work this time around.
I'm
So-
very sad for them. I understand what it's like to be out of a job. I've been looking myself for a long, long time. But on the other hand, if there are things that do come to light, which they allegedly have done, then there needs to be accountability. We are, above all things, a nation of laws. We're a rule of law nation. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how long it takes for the wheels to move. They do have to move. That's all there is. We people have to hold our elected and even unelected officials accountable if necessary, because the bottom line here is we are consenting to be governed this way. And that's why we need to withdraw our consent if we disagree with a given policy or a given thing that can be harmful to the American citizens. I would that the open southern border and other places where folks are coming in is harmful to our nation. I would say all the drugs that are coming across our fair borders.
And all the sex trafficking of young girls. And I don't know how they can look themselves in the face being the party of something of this. And I heard these guys are making about $13 billion in this sex trafficking. And sometimes this is a new thing I heard. Sometimes they might just kill the person and use their body parts and sell those body parts.
Absolutely. That's a big market. So that's something that we, the Republican John or Jane Q public, or the Democratic John or J Q public can unite behind. You know, we can take the policies out of this and the politics out of this and say, we don't want our kids being sold. We don't want our brothers and our sisters dying from fentanyl overdoses. We do not want this. And if you're not going to work for us, you're out.
Yeah. And these families that they spend $3,000 sending their kids across the border, trusting these banditos to get their child safe, and they may never hear from the kids because either the kids are put into sex trafficking or the body parts are sold. Could you imagine? This is your heart and soul. You want them to have a better life, and then this person takes advantage of it, and they care less. They just get the money, and then what happens next is crazy. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how any father, any mother who's living in America, who's in the Democratic Party, can just let your party do this. How you can put your head in the sand unless you're a part of this. And even that's on the rhino side, because there could be some Republican rhinos that is for this as well, as perversion can go on both sides. So ladies and gentlemen, we're just saying, if you're not a part of this, if you have a congressman that's a Democrat or whatever, talk to that person and ask him and see where he's at. And if he's not down with respecting these illegals coming into our United States and stopping some of the sex trafficking, vote him out if you are still one of those old time Democrats, blue dog criminals that believe in God, and God is not the government, and believe that you should do the right thing. But if you're one of those liberals that, hey, anything goes, you don't care about the sex trafficking, you just want to destroy, you're one of the Marxists that have infiltrated these Black Lives Matters and Antifa, then we know who you are. And obviously now you know who we are. So,
honey, I got to say this, and I'm just probably going to put myself on a list somewhere, and I'm real sorry about it. But the bottom line here is this: there's 11 million blind folks of work age between the ages of 16 to 65. Somewhere between 60 and 90% of the blind community are unemployed. In any other demographic, that unemployment rate would be unconscionable and something done about it. But instead, we, the blind community at large, except for maybe a few of us, just wait for that Social Security check to show up, or just wait for that housing opportunity to come open. And as long as Big Daddy, Big Uncle Sam, whatever government take care of us, then we'll sit down, we'll shut up, and we'll just kind of go along to get along. Well, those days are gone. Those days are gone when our president keeps telling folks, hey, if you want to take back the government, because we recognize, well, he didn't say this, but
that sound clip, you heard that sound clip on Hugh Hewitt's show, or maybe you just heard it.
So basically what happened is this, man, he said yet again, hey, if you want to take this country back, you're going to need F-15s, F-16s, whatever. You're going to need nuclear weapons. I'm sorry, I'm not down for having my United States president, my president. Yes, he's my president. I'm not down for him threatening Alan Colvin. I'm not down for that. I'm not okay. You're not going to come after my friends, my family, my whoever, and call us domestic terrorists while you're sitting there at a podium going, if you want to take this country back, oh boy, I get fired up. Boy.
Yes. So people are like, hey, we want you to pray for these demented people. Pray for them, even though they're demented. Pray that God will lift the blindness off their eyes. Pray that God will unhearten their hearts.
Absolutely.
And of course, in the end, we will win. But the process and the going up the hill, it's gonna take a toll on some of us, and not all of us are gonna make it physically on the other side, but we'll make it spiritually, internally on the other side.
Well, one thing that I did find the other day was somebody had posed a question in a chat room or something where they said, what are morals? And then they asked, what are morals? I says, well, morals are things that you believe in. They says, well, check this out. What if those morals that you believe in, if somebody just says, hey, we're going to take them away from you now. We're going to tell you that our way is right and you've got to tolerate it. Well, those morals then become mere beliefs. Well, I believe this is wrong, but you got to have your truth too, and that's okay. And so the moral individual with the moral high ground, the ones that say we don't want our cousins dying and our brothers and sisters dying with drug overdose and whatever like this, if we don't stand up and speak up about these kinds of things, then those morals only become preferences. Like, as long as we're kind of comfortable, as long as we kind of got our Social Security checks coming in, as long as we got our food stamps, it's okay. Just keep taking away our rights. It's fine. It's okay. And sorry, Johnny, I've finished with it. Like, I've finished with it. They can take away my happiness. They can take away my clothing. They can take away my freedom and my liberty individually if they need to. But on a collective level, that's okay, because I stood up for those morals that I have: God, country, family, friends, neighbor, and then finally myself.
Yep. Understandable. We want you to subscribe. We want you to hit the like button to do algorithms of this and share this with others, and invite them to come along. If you have any ideas about upcoming shows, info@innervisionfm.com, info@innervisionfm.com, and help support what we're doing. PayPal.me/InnervisionDenver. That's PayPal.me/InnervisionDenver. We really appreciate you being involved today. Today was just me and Alan. Sometimes we have other people come in and drop in and stuff like that. But we really enjoy you. We appreciate you, and we thank you for supporting us here on Innervision FM. And I guess you have a weekend off. Any special plans for the weekend?
My old man's not doing so well, so I'm gonna see if I can get up to South Dakota before too long. We'll just leave it there.
Okay. we'll keep them in prayer, and God bless everybody, and we'll